Welcome back, everyone, to this Tuesday edition of Sports Call. Brett Pritchard and Andy Graham here with you. Going to bring you home tonight here on Sports Call. We'll take your calls in the next segment, our final segment, 888-9-TIGER-9 or 334-887-3401 locally. But we do want to go back to the phone lines now. Welcome in former Auburn Tiger himself, Damon Duval. Damon, thanks for being on the program tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Damon, again, back to your days from 99, late 99, and then on into the 2000s. You were part of some big games, notably that game-winning kick against Florida in 2001. I know you had some fun years down there at Auburn, and at the time that you came in, Auburn was trying to get back on pace to being a power in the SEC, so very similar to what Gus Malzahn came into following last year.
Yes, sir. I mean, we were coming in. We fortunately had a lot of great players that I was able to play with and meet, and have gone on to have great NFL careers and are still having great NFL careers. And, it was such a great time when I was here, and it truly was a family. And that was probably the biggest thing that I enjoyed most, not only the success that we had on the football field, but just having that family atmosphere and really feeling the true support of the Auburn Tigers and their fans.
Well, Damon, you went on yourself to have a successful professional career in NFL and the CFL, and you just recently finished up your pro career back in 2011 with Edmonton. And so, tell everybody real quick what you're up to now and what's going on.
Well, what I'm up to now, we moved back down from Canada with my wife and two little boys, and I've actually started a mobile detailing company called Doobie's Mobile Express Wash. And what we are is we're a fully mobile vehicle detailing company where we can come to your business or to your home. We detail vehicles, RVs, boats, small planes. So far it's been a great business to get into, and I really enjoyed getting out and having a little change of pace from the football life. It definitely took a little getting used to. Being my own boss and not having coaches and bosses basically tell me what I need to do, where I need to be at what time. But, it's been a great experience and a good learning experience, and I try and get better at it every day.
Well, Damon, do you get a chance to keep up with this Auburn team this year?
Yes, sir. And believe it or not, it's been great to come back, to finally be moved back to Auburn for the first time and go into the season, with a lot of people not sure how it was going to go, but I was confident at the beginning of the year. I told everybody I felt we were at least going to win 9 games. So it's definitely been great to see our athletes and our student athletes out on the field giving it their all and seeing the attitude change this year compared to last year. I think that's been the biggest thing is just what Coach Malzahn brought, just with the attitudes of the players and no give up, no quit, fight the full 60 minutes, and I think it's showing off in our record.
Well, you being a kicker and a punter and did both at Auburn and did both well. Give us a critique of Cody Parkey and what's our punter's name, Brad?
Stephen Clark.
Stephen Clark.
Stephen Clark. You know what? I've always said from the year I left in 2002, one of the greatest things we've had, even when we were a little down and not doing so well, our special teams, I feel, has always been an A-plus effort and done a great job and kept us in many games. Stephen Clark and Cody Parkey have definitely done a great job. And, unfortunately, I think they're both seniors this year. So, hopefully we'll have somebody to be able to step in these following years and to keep that tradition going on.
Damon, I want to talk about that. And, a lot of people follow recruiting. And, kickers don't get a lot of love, unfortunately, when it comes to recruiting as far as the star ratings and all that. But, we were just talking back. It's been so long since I can remember when Auburn struggled in the kicking game. And you guys have just, Auburn the last 25, 30 years have just been exceptional in the kicking game. Talk about the recruiting process and how do kickers get recruited? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are interested in that.
Well, I believe you go back from when I was in high school to nowadays. I think coaches and fans and people that really love the game and play the game really understand how important the kicking game is now. That it truly is a third of the game that can win the game or lose the game for you. And so I think you have a lot more coaches that are that are being particular and paying attention. Yeah, they might be, say, at a high school watching a game, looking at a quarterback or a receiver or another position player, but I guarantee you now that they're always keeping an eye on the kicker and punter because they understand that, that can win and lose games for you, and it is an important role. And it, with so many out there and so few schools that, it is important to be able to find a young guy that you can bring in to be able to develop and to help your team.
Damon, again, Auburn goes up to Tennessee this coming up Saturday, and you've been to Tennessee before as part of a matchup up there. Talk about Knoxville. Talk about Neyland Stadium, and of course, this Tennessee team has been reeling for quite some time. They're trying to get their program turned around. Auburn heads in with a ton of momentum, being ranked in the top 10 nationally. Again, it's an 11 o'clock kickoff. You remember those 11 o'clock kickoffs yourself. Just kind of fill everybody in what it's like to play up in Knoxville.
Well, I was actually talking to a friend of mine the other day, and they were asking me what was one of the craziest stadiums I played in, and I brought up the Tennessee game because one of the biggest things that I always remember about playing that stadium, that was there and down in LSU, are probably the only two fields that I've ever stepped foot on that when the fans got going, you could honestly feel the field shaking under you because with all the concrete bleachers around, and you just feel the field actually moving under you. So, when you walk out and you have a little nerves to begin with and your legs are a little shaky, when you start feeling that field shaking, it definitely throws a little wrinkle into it. But, it's going to be a good environment. I mean, Tennessee fans are going to show up in drones. They're a lot like us in Auburn, even though they're not necessarily doing as well as they'd like to. They're going to be there. It's going to be a tough environment. And, their team this year has had struggles, but when they show up and they're ready to play, they're going to play. So, it's definitely not a game that we can look over and start looking to the Georgia game or start looking to the Alabama game because, if they show up, it's going to be a game, and we're going to have to play 4 quarters and give everything we have.
Well, Damon, before we let you go, got to ask you, what's your fondest memory as an Auburn Tiger when you played?
Fondest memory? Well, I'll bring 2 because, of course, number 1 is probably 0-1, of course, the Florida kick, the last time Spurrier threw his visor down before he left to go to Washington in the NFL. And then my number 2 would be actually my first rivalry game against Alabama in 1999. Well, we were going to the game. Our starting running back got hurt. We had Trey Smith that was going to be our starting running back, and everybody thought we were going to get blown out. That was probably the coldest game I'd ever played in before I went to Canada, and we ended up kicking the 3 field goals to come out with a victory, 9-0. So those would definitely be my 2 top highlights of my Auburn career.
Well, Damon, glad you were spot on both of those games, and again on a year where there was no points other than the kicking game in a very cold environment, and you were spot on, and remember that one quite well. It was chilly.
Yes, sir, and I'll always remember it because unfortunately I broke my finger right before halftime on a kickoff, so I'll always have three nice little titanium screws to remember that night.
Wow, that's amazing. I don't think anybody knew that. So, Damon, I tell you what, we appreciate you taking some time out to be on the program, and I look forward to catching up with you later on, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you guys very much, and anytime.
Thank you so much. Good luck with your business.
Thank you, War Eagle.
Thank you, War Eagle. That's Damon Duval, former Auburn kicker, and boy, he had some classic moments as an Auburn Tiger and game-winning field goals, and as you said, a lot of people don't remember he punted too, Andy, as you mentioned. So he did double duty there, whereas now we've got Stephen Clark and Cody Parkey, and most of the time we've got 2 doing that. And but Damon was good at what he did, punting and kicking, and again, some memorable moments for him.
Oh, definitely. Like you said, that 2001 season, he hit 3 consecutive game-winning field goals, and I don't know as I've ever seen that before. Just a and all culminating in that win over the number one team in the country, the Florida Gators. And I'll never forget that game. I always think Tommy Tuberville had the greatest line I've ever heard. They said, Auburn, never rushes the field, but they did that day. They tore down the goalpost, and they asked Tuberville after the game, and he said, "I just wish they'd bring it back."
Exactly. Tommy Tuberville was always a quick-witted one-liner guy. So, but again, I want to thank Damon Duval for being on the program. We're going to take our last break here on Sports Call, and we come back. We'll take your phone calls, 888-9-TIGER-9 or 887-3401 locally to be part of the program. Stay tuned. Last segment, Sports Call coming your way right after this.